TII Item 429, June 2nd, 2017, iOS 10.3.3, Beta 2, and Karl Piteira.
Welcome to Today in iPhone.
I like it a lot.
Today in iPhone.
Hey, Karl!
Oh, yeah.
My beautiful iPhone, which I never have out of my hand and that I do everything with and has become an extension of who I am.
This episode is sponsored by Boll & Branch. Go right now to bollandbranch.com and use promo code TII to get $50 off the nicest sheets and cotton products you've ever owned. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rob, and you are listening to the Today in iOS podcast. First up, I want to thank Frank for sending in the music you hear in the background. Frank wrote, "Hey Rob, this song was recorded on iPhone 5 using GarageBand. The drums and keyboard were played just using the app. The guitar and bass were played on a real instruments going into an Apogee interface and using GarageBand's modeling amplifiers. The song is called Blessed is the Man. Have an awesome day. Regards, Frank from Central PA." Well, thanks, Frank, for the music. And folks, I'll put the full song at the end of the episode. I also want to thank Shannon for sending in the artwork for today's show. Shannon wrote the following. "Hi, Rob. Here is my photo submission of me and my wife, Christina, in front of the Apple Store in Scottsdale, Arizona. The photo was taken with my iPhone 7 Plus, and the text was added using the Pixelmator app. I also made it a square photo with the app Pen and Paper. Regards, Shannon." Thanks, Shannon, for sending in this artwork. And folks, you can see Shannon's artwork in the free TI app via the bonus button for episode 429 or at Instagram.com/todayinios and also at Facebook.com/todayinios. Shannon's picture continues to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the TII podcast and the iPhone. Please, when taking a photo of yourself in front of your local Apple Store, if possible, take a square picture, as I have to make them square for iTunes, and put the Apple Store location on the photo along with the TI or Today in iOS branding, and then let me know which apps you used. Thanks to the many of you that already sent in the photos. As always, send those pics to todayinios@gmail.com. And if you have some artwork you've created on an iOS device like Frank did and you would like to share with the audience, please email it to me, same email address, and make sure to include which app or apps you use to create said music. All right, let's get right into the news. Apple released iOS 10.3.3 Beta 2 on May 30th to devs and then on the 31st for public beta testers. Really nothing new to see here, just the normal bug fixes and optimizations. Beta 2 comes just about 2 weeks after Beta 1. Of course, the beta we are all waiting for is iOS 11.0 Beta 1, which, with some luck, will be available next week. Hopefully more on that on the next episode. Apple also released watchOS 3.2.3 Beta 2 to devs on May 30th. Yep, bug fixes and optimization is all to report about Beta 2. One of them is hopefully for the one bug I heard introduced with Beta 1, and that was for those using the swimming lap count, which after the update to Beta 1 of watchOS 3.2.3 was reported in the Apple forums to not be accurate anymore. So hopefully this Beta 2 fixed that bug that was introduced in Beta 1. And to keep with the tradition, Apple also released tvOS 10.2.2 Beta 2 on May 30th just for the devs. And like the other two released on the 30th, bug fixes and optimization is all to report. No reports at all in the Apple dev forums for either Beta 1 or Beta 2 for tvOS 10.2.2. Again, next week, hopefully, we'll have more exciting news when it comes to the betas. Apple also updated the firmware of the AirPods to version 3.7.2. To check your AirPods firmware, go to Settings, then General, then About. Once there, you will not see anything about AirPods, unless you have the case open, that is. Open the case. Once you see the battery level strength pop over, tap the home button and then scroll down and you should see AirPods listed. Tap it and you will see the version of the firmware, which, if it is updated, will be 3.7.2. If it says anything else as of June 1st, 2017, then you need to put your AirPods in their case, plug a lightning cable to the case, open the case near your iPhone, and it should update. Note, some say lightning cables are don't need to be plugged in for this to happen. Others say that is only true if the case and the AirPods are all over 50% charged. I say just plug it in already. Per what was updated, Apple didn't say. When I checked mine, they were already updated to 3.7.2, and chances are when you check yours, they will also be already up to 3.7.2. The American Customer Satisfaction Can Get Me No Index for May 2017 was released, and for all smartphones, number one was iPhone SE. Huh? Did I read that right? Yep. Number one with a score of 87 out of 100 was the iPhone SE. Number two was the iPhone 7 Plus with a score of 86 out of 100. Oh, so close, but not quite there. This was a survey from 36,194 customer interviews during the 12-month period ending April 2017. For iPhones, the order of ranking for customer satisfaction, can't get me no, was iPhone SE with a score of 87, iPhone 7 Plus with a score of 86, the 6 Plus, 6S Plus, and 7 all within a score of 83, the 5, 5S, and 6S all with a score of 80, and the iPhone 6 with a score of 79. Per the scores, they say they take the customer data from the surveys and run it through their cause and effect econometric model, which then gives it a score. So it's possible one of the questions about size was important or overweighted or price was overweighted. Really hard to say. Or people just really, really like small size of the SE. And others really, really like the big screen on the 7 Plus. Big or small, just not in between. Because the 7 Plus beat the 7, the 6 Plus beat the 6S, or 6S Plus beat the 6S, and the 6 Plus beat the 6. So yeah, the bigger is one, and then the smaller is one over everybody. $70 billion. That is how much Apple has now paid out to devs. To put that number in perspective, that $70 billion, if it was just in 2016, would rank 71st in the country lists. That is more than the GDP of Iceland, Cyprus, Albania combined, and then some. Apple also reported that in the past 12 months alone, downloads have grown by over 70%, so still no sign of things flattening out. According to Phil Schiller, Apple's senior VP of worldwide marketing, quote, "People everywhere love apps and our customers are downloading them in record numbers. $70 billion earned by developers is simply mind-blowing. We are amazed at all the great new apps our developers create and can't wait to see them again next week at our worldwide developer conference," unquote. And if Apple takes a 70% cut, or 70% cut goes to the developers and 30 goes to Apple, that means Apple's done $100 billion in revenue through the app stores. Or put another way, that's more than the GDPs of Cambodia, Afghanistan, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Botswana, and Senegal combined, and then some. Apple last week announced the launch of a new app development curriculum designed for students who want to be app developers because, well, there's $70 billion out there. This is available right now in the iBookstore. This is designed for high school students and community college students. From Apple's post on this, quote, "Apple Development with Swift is a full-year course designed by Apple engineers and educators to teach students elements of app design using Swift, one of the world's most popular programming languages. Students will learn to code and design fully functional apps, gaining critical job skills in software development and information technology," unquote. If you go to itunes.com/ECC, that's itunes.com/ECC, you'll see the tutorials there. And if you act quick, you can actually download the teacher guides. Just saying. If you search in iBooks for app development with Swift, you will find it there as well. And did I mention you can download the teacher guides? There was a new study just done that compared the accuracy of 7 different fitness trackers, and the one with the lowest margin of error when measuring heart rate, well, since I'm mentioning this and talking about it, you guessed it, the Apple Watch. It beat out the Basis Peak, Fitbit Surge, Microsoft Band, Mio Alpha 2, Pulse On, and Samsung Gear S2. The study was conducted by Stanford University and the Swedish School of Sport and Health Services and is published in the Journal of Personalized Medicine. There were 60 volunteers, 31 women, 29 men. Each wore several fitness trackers and compared fitness activities, including cycling, running, and walking. They compared the results of the devices to a gold standard EKG. During the measurements, the Apple Watch had the lowest median heart rate error of just 2%, ranging between 1.2 and 2.8% from the gold standard. The worst You guessed it, Samsung Gear S2, with a median error rate of 6.8, ranging between 4.6 and 9% deviation.
Hey Rob, this is Justin from Pennsylvania. I'm kind of the question, I think it was posed by Daniel, what you'd like to see in Apple's next thing coming up soon. And the thing is, first off, I want to say to Daniel, this is the time of year where you always look at the features on the other side, you think about switching, and then you do it and you regret it. Please don't do it. Don't switch. Just stay where you are. Wait till September at least. At the least. All right. Anyway, the thing I would say is that I think AI is probably going to be a big push. I mean, there's huge rumors around the Siri Home thing. And I don't know what I feel about it. I've been on the fence about buying an Alexa. I've thought about getting a home, but I just can't see the functionality there for them yet. I'd really like to see Apple come out and say, hey, and this is what this device is for. That's something that I think that field really needs, because other than HomeKit, I mean, I guess that's the big thing. Maybe HomeKit's the big thing it could be for. But I would really like them to do something similar to what Google's saying they can do, where they'll be able to tell who you are by your voice. I think that is absolutely key for Apple, because my device is me. That thing needs to be able to be my wife's device, or my future, my kid's old enough, my kid's device. It needs to be able to know who we are in some way. That way I can make my own contacts. Otherwise it's not that useful as a one-user thing, because I'm not going to buy a $200 hub for each member of my household, nor am I going to label them to know I'm using the right one. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think they need to do something in there, and I'd really like to see them hit some kind of feature that if you buy this thing, it's going to enrich your life this way. I feel like most of their devices do that, and I think that for a device like this that's going to be an expensive device, it needs to say, hey, this is what the thing's going to do for you, like out of the box, whether you have hue lights or anything. You need to have, the thing needs to be useful just as a thing, not as if you have a bunch of other things to go with it. I know this kind of went a little long, but I just wanted to say, I love the show. I really am excited for what we're going to come up with next. I always get excited for the new iOS. Be tempted to get into that public beta when it's available. And, just wanted to say I love the show, and I will keep listening, and can't wait to see what's coming down the pike here from Apple. So thanks a lot, Rob. Have a great day. Bye.
Justin, as always, thanks for your feedback. I want to send out this warning right now. There's more than likely, by the time the next episode comes out, that iOS 11 Beta 1 will be available. And first off, it will only be available to the devs. So if they follow previous years, you probably won't see the public beta until Beta 2 at the earliest, and more than likely Beta 3. But Beta 1 will probably only be for devs. And if you are a dev, remember, don't put that on a device that you need day in, day out. I'm not going to put that on my iPhone 7 Plus. That's my work machine. I need that all the time. So do not put iOS 11 betas on the first 3 betas or maybe 4 betas. Don't put that on a device that you need day in and day out. Even the first public beta, don't put it on there. Wait, I'm going to be putting it on my iPad Pro. I may put it on one of my son's iPhones, but I'm not going to put it on my iPhone. Definitely not going to come anywhere near my wife's iOS devices. So remember, with iOS 11 Beta 1, hold off on what you put it on. And the first public beta, hold off on what you put it on. Do not put it on a device you need day in, day out, especially for work. Into the email bag. Hi, Rob. If possible, can you let us know the status of 32-bit apps in the updates? Hopefully, we won't lose them till iOS 11, but I'm concerned with each update. I'm fairly confident double dot updates won't affect them, but regards, Mike R. Hi, Mike. Don't worry, you're not going to lose 32-bit apps in the updates. Any of the 10 dot whatever dot x dot, any of the 10 dot double updates, you're going to still have support for 32-bit apps. iOS 11, however, is most likely not going to support any 32-bit apps. It's not going to support any 32-bit devices. Well, it may support the apps, but it definitely will not support 32-bit devices. And there's a good chance it won't support any 32-bit apps. So Apple's kind of given that warning. It said, hey, gotta get up to 64-bit apps. Do not expect iOS 11 to work on any 32-bit machines. It's going to be all 64-bit machines and up, and that's where the demarcation line is going to be for iOS 11. Back to email bag. Hey, Rob, I have really enjoyed the show. Was glad to hear in episode 428 that Apple may improve its native podcast app. I always assumed they had little interest as they currently can't monetize it. My simple gripe would be to allow us to clear the documents and data cache with multiple podcast subscriptions. This can add up to gigabytes of storage tied up. I know it sounds petty, but it can be frustrating. Regards, Derek. Well, Derek, that leads us into tip time. If you would like to make some of your native apps work better, including the Apple's podcast app, or I think that's what it's called now, Apple's Podcasts. Yeah, Apple's Podcast app is the official name of it now. You can clear out the caches on them, and here's how you do this. For the following apps: Apple's Podcast app, App Store, Apple Music, Game Center, iMessage, and the phone app itself, go to the bottom of the screen and tap 10 times in a row quickly on any icon at the bottom of the screen. I did this on the App Store app and saw the number of updates needing to happen just cleared out. Now, I'm not sure I saw anything or noticed any improvements on any of the apps, but I could not figure out where to do that on the iMessage app. But hey, it's worth a try. And again, if you want to do something on the Apple Podcast app, just go down and tap where it says featured or my podcast. I guess it is my podcast, and tap on that 10 times, or tap on the icon to the left of that, the one in the bottom left corner, 10 times in a row, and see if that helps you at all. And speaking of podcast app, previously it was asked about the status of the app Downcast and if it had a future. That was mentioned here on the show, asked by a couple of listeners. I mentioned I reached out to the dev, and here is his response. Hi, Rob. Just wanted to say that yes, I'm still working on version 3 as much as possible. I'm a solo developer and have to supplement my income with contract work, which varies as far as how time-consuming it is. It has been a struggle to try to finish version 3, but Downcast is definitely not dead. Thanks, George. And then he also went out and put up a blog post with some screenshots of version 3. In a nutshell, version 3 under the hood is a completely new rebuild, but the UI and features will be ones that Downcast users are familiar with. And if you have any other questions, you can go to downcast.fm and look for the blog post, and you can see he has a post up there called Still Here, and it has the screenshots there for you to look at. Thanks again to Boll & Branch for sponsoring this show. Let me give you the 3 most important words for getting a good night's sleep. Comfortable, comfortable, comfortable. If you want the best sleep of your life, you need to be comfortable, and that's what all the sleeping pills are trying to do for you. But you don't need that. You just need Boll & Branch sheets. With Boll & Branch, you get the best sheets, which are made from 100% organic cotton. That means not only do Boll & Branch sheets feel incredible, but they also look amazing. We've had ours for over a year now, and they are really soft, and they look great. Springtime is a time for change, and you really need to change to the best and softest sheets. No more sleeping in long johns. Now it's shorts, if even that. And don't you want the softest sheets next to your skin? Go to bollandbranch.com and you'll get $50 off your first set of sheets plus free shipping when you use promo code TII. That's $50 off plus free shipping right now at bollandbranch.com. Once more, that's BOLLNbranch.com, promo code TII. And since Boll & Branch sells exclusively online, you don't pay that expensive retail markup. That's half the price for twice the quality. But here is the best part. Don't take my word for it. Try them out yourself, 30 nights, risk-free. If you don't love them for any reason, they will take them back and refund you without any hassle at all. Boll & Branch wants you and your family to feel great about your sheets inside and out. Rest easy knowing their sheets are ethically made, meaning everyone involved in the creation of their bedding has been treated with respect. These are sheets that feel good and you can feel good about owning. Please go to bollandbranch.com and use promo code TII to get $50 off your first set of sheets. That's BOLLNbranch.com. Use promo code TII. We are now over 3,500 members in our Google Plus community and growing. Thanks to everyone that has joined in, and thanks for all the great posts. One new post in the Google Plus community that went up since the last episode was from Francisco Tapia, who put up a link to an article titled Apple to let podcasters record 60-minute episodes at on-site WWDC 2017 studio, reservation required. Clearly, Apple did not like getting shown up by Microsoft and their studio at Build. I even had sent multiple emails to Apple PR about it and asked if they would be supporting podcasters like Microsoft did. And hey, where is my invite, I said. Well, evidently, they decided to only address part of my email, and sadly, no invite again for Today in iOS. Wah, wah, wah. When this news broke, I did send them a follow-up email and said, well played. Still, what Apple is doing at WWDC does pale compared to what Microsoft did at Build, which was to fly out and put up podcasters so they could do interviews at Build. The podcast studio is a good, small first step. How about next time actually, at least inviting podcasters out to WWDC? Just saying. Since the last episode, there were also dozens and dozens of other new posts and comments in the TII Google Plus community, which is an Android fanboy-free zone and spammer-free zone. Yep, it is the most civil Google Plus community covering iOS. Folks, go to todayandios.com/community to join in, and thanks to all 3,500 plus of you already in the community and contributing. WWDC 2017 keynote will be this Monday, June 5th, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to watch it live, there are many ways to do so. Apple will stream it live, most likely at apple.com/live, but for sure at apple.com/apple-events/June-2017. If you have a Mac or iPad or iPhone and you go to that address, you'll see it. PC users can also watch it at that address if they have Microsoft Edge on Windows 10. Apple TV will also have the stream. Look for the Apple Events app for tvOS and make sure you update that prior to the event if that's the way you plan to watch it. And of course, while that's going on, please go over to todayandios.com/community and we'll have a post somewhere up there at the top and you can add comments to it. So actually just put the comments in the show notes for the last episode, which will be pinned to the top. So just put comments in there as it's happening. Or look for whichever post I have pinned at the top of the community. If I remember, I will try to pin the link to the live event at the top of the community right before it starts so that people can comment right there and it'll stay refreshed at the top. The one new device that most people expect to see at WWDC is Apple's Siri speakers. There was even a press release in Bloomberg about it. Okay, Bloomberg said it was speculation. That's just happened to read like an Apple press release. The article from Bloomberg said Apple had already started manufacturing of the Siri-controlled speaker, according to people familiar with the matter. Yeah, like Lisa at Apple PR. The article says it would serve two purposes. One is a hub for HomeKit appliances, and two, to combat Alexa. Act as a smart speaker system there to answer your questions, tell you a joke, play some music and podcasts, and be a competitor to Alexa. Hopefully, more on this on the next episode. So what else are the last-minute prognosticators saying will be at WWDC 2017? New iPad Pros are a popular rumor the last 2 weeks. Popular does not mean correct, though. MacBook Pros are being updated to the latest Intel chips is a very common and mostly agreed upon rumor. Again, that was something I thought would have happened prior to WWDC, but now it's pretty much late in the week, and if Apple hasn't already done it, it's most likely they will do it on stage next week. A bunch of rumors about Apple having special AI chips for iOS devices. That could be announced on Monday, and I would imagine there would be some news about the future MacBook Pro update. I don't think we will see much on the Mac side for hardware. Of course, all 4 operating systems will be updated, and that's going to take up the lion's share of the event. It will be interesting to see how Apple splits out the 2-hour event, which gets the most time. That will be a telling sign of where Apple wants their focus. To kind of sort of back up the new MacBook rumors speculation comes word of 5 new Macs, which were found in the Russian language regulatory filing. Okay, you can take that one with a big grain of salt, but from the rumor on this one and what they're saying is that it looks like they would be 5 new MacBooks, or probably MacBook Pros. One rumor for tvOS is multi-user mode, like Netflix has for Apple TV. You can have multiple users. There will also likely be more integration with live TV. For watchOS version 4.0, one rumor is about getting better nighttime/sleep monitoring, plus support for smart bands. iOS 11, one likely new feature, will be many new features for the iPad Pro users. What type of new features? Well, good ones that really show off the power of the iPad. In other words, those reporting this have no idea. But hey, it sounds good to say new iPad Pro features. There are, of course, boilerplate rumors about greatly improved Siri functionality. See WWDC 2016, 2015, 2014 rumors for more on this one. What I would also like to see is improvement for my AirPods. Tap once or twice on the left, this means one thing. Tap once or twice on the right, it means something else. That's a pipe dream of mine, but I'd love to see it. My other pipe dream is password-protected folders. I don't know why Apple won't do this. I mean, it's very simple. You tap and hold on the folder, and then you get an option, or you double or triple tap on it, and then you're able to set a password to it, plus also have it with Touch ID so that you can only unlock it with your Touch ID, and that would be a beautiful thing. So you can give your kid the phone and have all your work apps inside a password-protected folder. Speaking of rumors, every year rumors of the launch date leak for the next iPhone get here a little bit earlier than the previous year. This year, the link baiters upped their game to start prior to even WWDC. They are saying September 17th for the keynote to announce the iPhone 8 and a launch date of September 25th. No, September 17th is way too late for Apple, but have to admire them for starting the launch date rumors so early this year. Or not. Sorry, I can't resist this next one. The title just had me at malware, which is Malware Scourge Threatens Billions of Android Devices. Oh, I love that title of that. From the article by Johnny Evans at applemust.com, 99.9% of Chinese malware targets Android. Gee, shocker. And as if there's another type of malware other than Chinese malware. Really? Reality is Apple's walled garden, along with ubiquitous updates, where the vast majority of users update early and often, makes iOS a much, much more challenging environment for hackers and ne'er-do-wells. Android, on the other hand, is so fragmented and has so many places where people can get apps, and worst, has such a tiny percentage on the latest version, it is a malware writer's paradise. This issue will only get worse for Android, not better. Hey folks, I have not asked this of you in a long, long time. I would like for you to take a quick survey. If you go to podcastlistener.com/TII, there's a really quick survey to take. Again, that is podcastlistener.com/TII. Link in the show notes, and thanks for your help.
Hey Rob, this is Joe from Wisconsin. I emailed you before about an issue that I had with my iPhone. It was regarding the backup that I made on it. And when I tried to recover that backup and get the backup back on my phone, it wouldn't do the backup. I have received the notice that the backup was corrupt and that it couldn't sync and back up to my iPhone. I have an iPhone 6s Plus, and I was performing the backup on a Windows computer. Now, I really don't care about the backup. The only thing I really wanted to get out of it was the pictures. Unfortunately, I didn't take the pictures out before I did the backup. I sort of trusted the backup, hoping that it would be there with the pictures in the backup already. And I just listened to your recent podcast, and I believe someone named Tammy was experiencing the same problem that I was experiencing. I'm running iPhone 6s Plus, and this was done on a Windows computer. Right now, what I'm trying to recover is only the pictures that I had on that backup. It is an encrypted backup, if that matters. So if there is a solution to just take the pictures out, or even to just have the backup work somehow. But if the backup doesn't work, what I really want is the pictures and videos that were in that backup. So if there's any way to get that out of the backup, that would be great. If anyone out there can give me some information, maybe software program that can work on the Windows computer. I'm running Windows 10. I believe the latest version of Windows 10 on my Windows computer. And so any help would be great. Again, this is Joe from Wisconsin. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Joe, sorry to hear about your issue. And for any Windows users out there, if you can help Joe out, give us a call, 206-666-6364. That's 206-MOON-DOG. Or send an email to todayinios@gmail.com. Into the email bag we go. Hi, Rob. In item 426, you asked if others have had problem with third-party lightning cables since iOS 10.3.1. I have had the same issue with my foot-long nylon cable made by LAX Gadgets that I purchased on May 22nd, 2016. My cable was, and even today still is, advertised as MiFi certified. I used this together with a RAV Power RP-CC01 USB port car adapter before iOS 10.3.1, and still an issue in 10.3.2 beta, public beta. The pair work for some minutes, as many as 10 to 15, with the Waves app running before I got the pop-up message from iOS stating that the cable is not compatible. Needless to say, this is annoying when you think your phone is being kept charged while it's under heavy use by the GPS and map rendering of Waves app running, only to find out it's not charging and is running solely off your iPhone's battery. If I swap out the LAX Gadgets cable for an Apple Lightning cable and keep the RAV Power car adapter in use, that combination works fine. Regards, Damon Ferguson, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Well, thank you for the heads up on that. And if anyone else is having issues, let us know. But it sounds like there seems to be an issue with the recent update. Hopefully 10.3.3, maybe that'll fix it and get you back. Hi, Rob. No sign of Apple Pay in Sweden. It stinks that Sammy rolled out Sammy Pay recently for the S8, and I got info from my MasterCard. My debit card also got NFC recently. Regards, Johan O. Johan, thank you for your feedback. Maybe there'll be some news about Apple Pay in other countries in the WWDC announcement. And speaking of the WWDC announcement, as you hear what's being announced, if you're watching it, or even if you just read about it afterwards, give us a call, 206-666-6364. That's 206-MOON-DOG. Let us know your thoughts about what's announced at WWDC. Was there something missing you wish was announced that wasn't announced? Or was there something announced that you weren't expecting and are excited about? For a Kickstarter project this week, we have ShiftCam, one word. Add 7 stunning features on your iPhone 7 Plus lens. Quote, ShiftCam is a 6-in-1 lens case that enables you to take high-quality photo shoot in the most comprehensive, convenient, and portable way. Get the most out of the dual lens of your iPhone 7 Plus with ShiftCam camera lens case. Rugged by design, this case has 6 lenses that add new perspectives to your iPhone photography. You can quickly switch between telephoto, wide angle, fisheye, and macro using the built-in slide and snap mechanism. This gives you the option to capture stunning landscapes and beautiful close-ups, unquote. It actually looks pretty cool. They have multiple lenses that are together and move up and down to cover the lenses. This project has reached its goal of $25K with $27K in funding. You have until just June 8th at 10:30 a.m. Central Time to fund this one. Pricing on this is about $59, so it's not much. They say delivery will be in August, just in time to get it and play with it for about 1 month and then upgrade to the new iPhone 8. Search for ShiftCam, one word, at Kickstarter or in the show notes for episode 429. As mentioned before, I was out at Microsoft Build Conference last month. Thanks, Microsoft, for having me out. And I did a few different interviews while out there. You can hear the first of those on episode 427 with Joe Mellon. This episode, I have the second of those interviews and is with Karl Piteira from Microsoft. This interview just runs a tad under 19 minutes. And without further ado, here we go. Karl, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
For the audience, just introduce yourself real quick.
Sure. So I'm Karl Piteira. I'm a Principal Program Manager at Microsoft on Visual Studio Mobile Center. and I lead a team of PM who looks at how mobile app developers can learn about what's happening in their app.
So let's go back before your days at Microsoft. I was like,
Sure.
go back a little bit. You're not from the US, I'm guessing by your accent.
Exactly, I'm from France.
All right. And you had a lot of different companies that you've worked with and started up. Tell us some of the companies that you work for in France, and then we'll get to how you got from France to Redmond.
Sure. So right before Microsoft, actually, I worked in a company called Captain that was acquired by Microsoft. And that company was doing analytics and push notification. And the point was to help mobile app developers engage their audience through push notifications, but in a targeted way. So using people's behavior in order to send targeted messages that will interest these people. So that company got acquired by Microsoft in 2014.
One of the other companies I see here was HomeTematics.
Yeah, sure. So that was an attempt from my side to enter the IoT business quite some time ago.
So you were a little early to the game there.
I was a bit early, and I'm a software guy. I'm like intrinsically a software guy. And at that time, it was very much about hardware and stuff in buildings.
So what year was that?
It was in 2010, I think.
Wow.
My memory is correct.
So that IoT in 2010. So that was like 6 years too early.
Yeah.
So, or maybe even some would say
Kind of.
7 or 8 years too early, right?
Yes.
Now that you see the IoT where things have come, what do you think about some of the products that are out there? I mean, it sounded like today in the keynote that Microsoft's going to get a little bit more with Cortana into the IoT.
Yes. I mean, the progress is really amazing on all aspects. When I was looking at the topic, we really had devices that were struggling to harmonize around standards, much less software to control all that. And I think now that this problem is getting solved, Microsoft is definitely in a very, very strong position to help with the way you can collect data, the way you can control all the flows, and adding AI on top of that is really what you want. So really impressed by the progress that has been made.
So there was a slide I took a picture of today, and I'll have to see if I can remember to put this in the show notes. The way we look at the cloud today is a lot different than a few years ago, and it was the intelligent edge. I thought that was really interesting. It was basically no more that hub and spoke, but almost like it's all spoke.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like Microsoft, and this was it was a mixture of multiple devices, artificial intelligence, and services. And that was for their intelligent cloud. So I thought that was very, I don't know if you were at the keynote today.
No, I wasn't, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, so I thought that of all the slides, I took a picture of that one when that went up, because that one hit me the most. And I was like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
You're in France, and Captain, it got acquired. And
Yes.
How long were you there and with them?
I was at Captain for 2 years before it was acquired.
Okay.
I was heading product there, and product and customer success. So really helping the company transform into a product that was delighting customers and making sure that they were using it. And that's what took the attention of Microsoft.
Right. So how long have you been over in the US now?
2 years now.
What do you miss the most?
I think bread and cheese, like most French outside of France. But I discovered with pleasure a lot of amazing food here as well, especially in Seattle. It's really great. I can't complain, really.
And you lived in Paris.
I used to live in Paris, yes.
Yeah. Paris is a great city. Been there a few times. So
Okay.
yeah, no, but Seattle is very nice too.
Mm.
Now that you are here, what is your primary? I know you're manager of product managers, Visual Studios, mobile side. Explain to the audience the mobile center, how that integrates in with Visual Studios.
Sure. So Mobile Center is really what we call the control center for mobile applications. So we want to provide a set of services to mobile app developers to really simplify their lives. Today, when you want to test an app, to get an app into the hands of people who are not necessarily your end customers, when you want to make experiments, things like that, it's pretty hard. I mean, you need to go through either you're savvy and you know all the tools you want to use, and then you need to stitch them together to have a complete solution, etc. Or you just do it by hand. You compile on your machine, you send an email or USB key, and I mean it gets clunky and painful. So we really wanted to help developers do that easily and quickly, and actually not thinking about it. So our vision was, I'm a mobile developer and I code, I do stuff in my app, and at some point I git commit. Okay, so I just send my code to the code repository. And then it would be amazing if some magic happened so that automatically this thing get compiled, get tested, get sent to people for manual testing, and I get feedback with data, I get crash reporting, etc. So that's really our vision, that me as a developer, I don't have to care about that. I just send my code to the code repo and all that magic happens. And that's really what Mobile Center is making all that happen behind the scene in the cloud so that you don't have to care about it.
But it's integrated with Visual Studios. So someone, again, my audience majority will probably use the community version, which is free. They go, they have their idea for their app, they work it out, they develop now for both iOS and Android. And at the point where they finally got the code done, that's where you guys come in.
Exactly.
And what's the cost? What would it cost for someone that's doing an app, first-time developer, came through the community version? What would be the cost to get all that testing done? We
don't communicate yet on the cost of Mobile Center, but I mean, the goal, especially for people who just want to try it out, is likely that it's like either small or no cost, but okay. We'll get there at some point.
Okay. What are some of the things that you see first-time developers doing that they could do better or aren't doing that they should be doing?
I think is first, using properly source code repository and version control. I think that's really key to be able to make sure that you have well-known steps in the way you produce your code, and to help you go back and figure out maybe regressions you've introduced and things like that. It's a bit difficult at first to learn, but once you get into the habit of using it, actually you don't even think about it. And even better, when you commit your code, it becomes some kind of an achievement, and you get to do these small achievements several times a day, and it becomes almost a satisfaction. Yep, I did my job, I committed my code, and centering your whole thinking around that is great. And then is about testing frequently. So making sure that you test properly. And there are different ways of doing that. Unit test, obviously, but also UI testing and testing features, and also sharing what you do with others as early as you can, so that you can get validation about, are you going into the right direction? Is it useful? Do people find it easy to use? So all these things are pitfalls that you can fall into if you're not used to do it. And Mobile Center actually addresses part of that, especially the later, where it gets easier to test and to share with people your work so that you get early feedback.
Back in November at Connect, Visual Studios was announced for the Mac. Mm-hmm. And then today at Build, it was announced that it's now available out of beta or testing and in kind of Gold Master for Mac. During that period, did you see an uptick in uses, especially from obviously the Mac side of developers?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, a lot of Xamarin developers are looking at Mobile Center and really liking it. And yeah, definitely we're getting an increase of usage on that side.
What's one of the features in Mobile Center that many people don't know about? They should.
I think it's the automation from build to cloud testing to distribution. The fact that all this just happens without you having to manually go into these steps is something that we really hope people get to use and get benefit of, because that's where they can really accelerate their processes.
So you are a coder. You mentioned earlier that you like to code. What are some of the things or projects on the side that you've been working on?
So I have young kids. And
how old?
5, 9, and 11.
Okay, I have 9 and 11.
Nice. Okay. And they are learning how to read. And English is not their first language. I mean, they arrived here in the US. They knew absolutely no English at all.
Oh.
And I discovered that thing they teach at school, which is sight words.
Yes.
And I thought that was pretty awesome. And so definitely there are a bunch of sight words apps in the store. But like when you are a hobbyist, and I'm a hobbyist because my day job is being a product manager. So from the coding perspective, it's more like a hobby. I thought that's an amazing topic, and I would be super proud to get my kids to use my sight words app so that they can learn how to read it. Actually, so I did it, and I was on my iPhone showing them, hey, you can learn how to read, and that got them interested, probably more than if I had to download
What's
an app.
the title of your app? So we'll make sure.
So it's not on the store.
Oh, it's not.
Sorry about that. I should put it at some point, but it's sight words.
Okay. And how did it work? So explain a little bit how the app. What'd you do? It was like the sight words would pop up and it would say the word and they had to hit it, or what kind of?
Yeah. So I started really super simple, like MVP like. Mm-hmm. So I had a JSON with a bunch of words, and it would just appear. They would say it, and usually we did it with them. So would just click it when it was okay. So that was really the very first version. I did to actually learn also Xamarin. And then I started to realize that my 5-year-old daughter was really struggling with the words that my 11-year-old daughter could say. So I had to change a bit. So I started to have a user profile. And so I added a user profile with different words. And next step probably will be to be able to understand that they have said it right and just skip to the next one, probably with the speech APIs from Microsoft.
Any coders yet with the kids?
Sorry?
Any of the kids coding yet?
Not yet. I've not been super good at that yet.
You got to brainwash them early.
Yeah.
You have 3 kids. Obviously, the language is tough. But there's some things about the U.S. that they like?
Everything. They don't want to go back. No, they really like they like school. They like the outdoor. We go very often on mountains and walking. They like that. And when you come from Paris, going to a park is like an expedition. You need to wear a bunch of stuff, and you prepare 20 minutes before you get out, and then you get to the park, and it's super busy because everybody has the same idea. Here, you just go out and you're in the nature. So, yeah, they like it very much here.
Now, you mentioned you have an iPhone. What's one of your apps that you like? Something that you have on your home screen that's not a native app?
So something I use very often, actually, and it's apologies, it's a Microsoft app. Outlook is really well done, and I feel very, very comfortable using it. I also use very often Intercom. That's what we use to help our customers on Mobile Center, and I like it also because it's very respectful of off time and on time, so I can really help customers very quickly when I'm on, but when I'm off, I'm off the hook, literally.
Okay, I have to check Intercom out. So it's a way for your users to know if you're in or out.
No, sorry, I probably misguided you there. It's the
part
system we use inside Mobile Center to interact with our customers.
Okay.
And the fact that I use it on my phone could have been, you get interrupted all the time, but actually no, it's pretty well done for that, so that I can help quickly when I'm available and just be respected when I'm not. Some other things I use, like probably a lot of people, Step Counter. I like Withings a lot, French company, and they do really nice hardware and software, smart balance and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. Any other items on Mobile Center we should know about?
I think it's worth mentioning that Mobile Center helps on the DevOps aspect, which I talked about. So build in the cloud, test and distribute automatically, but also the analytics and crash reporting. So with just integrating a simple SDK, developers can learn about what's happening. So on the crash side, we of course always hope that we don't get any crash, but they happen. And when they happen, you really want to know about it because you want to be able to prioritize and decide whether that's something you need to take a look at if it happens to a lot of users or if it happens frequently, because the success of an app really depends on people liking it, but also people having a good experience with it. And an app crashing is a very bad experience. So you want to know about it. And a Mobile Center inherits from Hockey App on that. And Hockey App has been for a long time a leader in crash reporting, and we got all that experience in Mobile Center. So I think that's something developers, especially developers who are starting with a new app, really want to think about. And the analytics part, also in my experience at Captain, we were meeting customers that were doing all their coding and preparing the app, and the analytics thing was the last thing they would put in the app. And actually, if you put it super early on, and especially if you link it with a continuous integration and continuous delivery process, you can leverage the analytics also from your testers. So when you make an alpha version, you distribute it to a few people, you can already see from your analytics if they have been using what you just added, or if they get sidetracked, on other screen and don't go to the main thing that you think is the most important in your app. So you can discover that way before you actually get your app in the store. So I think it's really important to think about that, and we've really tried to make it easy. I mean, you just drop the SDK in the app, one line initialization, you get started. Then you can do additional instrumentation, but it's pretty easy. And the fact that you have all that in the same place makes it much easier, and that's really what we've been trying to do.
How do they sign up for Mobile Center? Is it just part of Visual Studios, or is there another process they have to go through?
Yes, so it's another process. You go to the Mobile Center portal, which is mobile.azure.com. So you go there. You have a registration screen. You can log in with your GitHub account. You can log in with your Microsoft account. You can also use just an email and a password, which makes it easy. If you use your GitHub account, you have the possibility to automatically get your source get connected with your source repository, which allows us to show all your development branches, and then you can configure them and get to the whole process ready. So registration is pretty easy, mobile.azure.com, and you create an account in any of these ways.
Okay. Karl, how can people get a hold of you?
I can be reached directly in Mobile Center, actually. We have that small icon, intercom, that I mentioned, that you can click on and just write to us. The whole team is behind that. I'm also on Twitter. You can contact me, and my handle is Twykarl, T-Y-I Karl, which is my first name.
K-A-R-L.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Well, Karl, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks again to Karl for coming on the show. And as he mentioned, for more info, go to mobile.azure.com. That's azure.com, so mobile.azure.com. And you can follow Karl on Twitter at TWIKARL, so TWIKARL. What's going to be announced at WWDC?
If I told you, they'd probably make me sit through product security training again.
What's going to be announced at WWDC?
Hello, big ideas. Hello, anything. Hello, everything. That's all I'm allowed to say right now.
What's going to be announced at WWDC?
Well, they're going to announce the new super awesome. Oops, you almost got me there.
What's going to be announced at WWDC?
Not telling.
What's going to be announced at WWDC?
There will be some cool stuff, and then some more cool stuff, and then some more really cool stuff. Hope that helped.
Thanks again to Boll & Branch for sponsoring this episode. Folks, go right now to bollandbranch.com and use promo code TII to get $50 off the nicest sheets and cotton products you have ever owned with free shipping to boot. And before we go today, I want to remind you to send in your feedback to the show, 206-666-6364. That's 206-Moondog. Record your feedback and email to the show at todayinios@gmail.com. The feedback can be a question or comment for something someone said on this episode, or it can be a question or rant you have about something else, an app, a product review, good or bad. As long as it's iOS related, it is welcomed, especially if it's iOS 11 related. And I'm always looking for new artwork to feature on the show that you've created on an iOS device. Just put some TII branding and send it in. And of course, we're always looking for more music created on an iOS device to play on this show. This is your show, and your feedback is greatly desired. Don't forget to check out our moderated Google Plus community by going to todayinios.com/community. And a quick reminder, if you are an app dev or an iBook author, email me if you want your app or iBook featured in the promo giveaway segment for free. We just need the 5 promo codes or more to give away. Simply email me at todayinios@gmail.com. Please include a 60-second or less audio review of your app or iBook indicating you are the dev or author. Also, when you send in the promo codes, please make sure to let me know when they expire. Once more, I wanted to ask if you could please go to podcastlistener.com/TII. There is a really quick survey to take. That is podcastlistener.com/TII. Thanks for your help on that. And finally, check out the recently updated TII app, which is free to you. Search for TII in the iTunes App Store. It is the best way to consume the show and to get push notifications each time a new episode of TII is released. It is fully voiceover friendly, of course. Per the latest update, we really redid those push notifications on the back end. They are so quick. I mean, with a few seconds, boom, out to all 19,000 plus people that are using the app. This is a huge improvement from how it was, and it also fixed the issues where some users weren't getting push notifications from the TI app. Please go right now and download the TI app to get an update, or get the update, I should say, and especially with WWDC. I might be able to send out a couple push notifications during the event if there's really interesting breaking news. Until the next time, I'm your host, Rob, reminding you to phone different. This show is hosted on Libsyn.com and part of the Wizard Media Network. If you are looking for hosting, go to Libsyn.com, that's Libsyn.com, for hosting for your podcast and for creation of your own smartphone app. The Today in iOS podcast can also be found on the free Stitcher radio app. Just search for TII.